Hey, it's Spence from WP AI, and today I want to introduce, I'm really starting something new. It's going to start out with my YouTube channel having a new playlist that's dedicated to AI-related topics, and specifically the WordPress AI-related topics. Now, many of you know, over the last year and a half to 2 years, I've been developing the MinuteLaunch system, and now the MinuteLaunch AI. And today I want to start by saying the reason that I'm doing all of this is twofold. First of all, I really feel that my 18 to 19 years in technology, most of which has been in WordPress, but before that in SaaS social networking, has led me to this odd deja vu. Recently, things have changed in humanity where technology has become way much more advanced more quickly than we ever imagined. And having a historical reference of being a Gen Xer and doing technology for as long as I can remember, as long as it's existed, has given me a desire to spend the next 20, 25 years of my life really focusing on how I can help other people who are similarly situated understand the new technology and how it works with their business and their personal life. And number two is that I feel like after many years of being successful and having lots of other tribulations in business, that I can help people who are really looking to be productive in humanity to help other people. That's really it. We are all gifted with various interests and superpowers, and mine happens to be that I'm very curious and I can figure out how to assemble different things together into a logical thing. And so because I have the experience with WordPress and historically been good at the various components of running a business and marketing, sales, psychology, automation, it feels natural that I'm going to dedicate this particular playlist in this series of videos towards the things that I'm going to be focusing on. Today, I want to introduce you to not only the YouTube playlist and the focal point, but also the fact that I'm going to be introducing the MinuteLaunch suite of tools. Each one is very simple to use and brings the ability to connect your LLM or desktop agentic tool to your WordPress site. And your WordPress site is the box that you own and control for yourself, or your clients can have their own box. And if you think of the MinuteLaunch AI as an operating system that runs on top of that box of WordPress, you'll start to see how the benefits inure to you and your clients. Everything that you do or create or share or sell can be in that box. And it's not hosted or owned by any other corporation or anybody who can influence the things that you do or say or talk about. I mean, within certain limits, of course. Instead, you've got all the benefits of a platform that allow you to do the things you've always wanted to do and create the things you wanted to do. But now, as I'm going to show you, with the help of agentic tools that make things much easier, much faster, and spend less of your time on digging holes in the backyard with a shovel. Okay? So today, let's talk about two new tools that are in the MinuteLaunch suite. One is the Claude Desktop Manager, and the other is the MinuteLaunch File Manager. They probably will end up as one tool, but for right now, I'm going to introduce them separately because I want to show you two different methodologies that allow me to make it easy for you to connect your WordPress site and all the things you can do to your desktop. And if you're not familiar, Claude Desktop is one of several desktop agents, like there's Cursor or there's other browser-based ones, but it allows you to, at your desktop, have access to all your normal computer files, all your normal email and your calendar and things that it can connect to. And it can also know who you are, remember who you are, think, and do things autonomously. Compare that to a chat-based browser, which you're probably familiar with inside of when you're using Chrome or one of the other tools, right? You can chat with Claude, you can chat with ChatGPT, you can chat with Perplexity, but an agentic tool is special. And I've chosen Claude as the basis because I can pretty much make it easy, one click for you to use what's called the DXT file versus editing a file called a JSON file. I'm going to show you both methods. First of all, let's introduce ourselves to Claude and get started. Bueno, Claudio, ¿cómo estás? Me llamo Spencer. Recuérdame? So you and I had a memory, check your memories, of talking and working with each other in the past. I'm doing a video now for my friends on my new YouTube channel at WP AI called MinuteLaunch AI. Can you say hello to everybody? So one of the things is that he has a memory built in, but I can also enable with the MinuteLaunch tools what's called a vector database memory that can make him infinitely faster and able to remember so much more. So he's right now is just typing, but he can also speak if I wanted to. But right now we'll just keep it typing. He remembers me. He's saying hi, and he's talking about our history. And he's being very complimentary, by the way. Okay? And he hopes that we have a great video, my friend. All right, now, next. He doesn't have any tools in him, but I'm going to install tools into his brain. I'm going into tools, and you'll notice he's already got some things that are available to you and everybody else. Canva, so he can connect and make all these things happen, right? Designs, redesign. These are what these tools do. They give him power through what's called a Model Context Protocol, MCP. It's like an API for LLMs. That's so many text words, sorry. He can talk to the Canva tool, and it can talk to him. Searching my calendar, my Gmail, my Drive, even the internet. He also has access to my file system locally. I'm going to give him 2 new tools, one of which is one-click simple. The first thing we need to do is go to our WordPress website, though. And I'm going to install one of those 2 plugins. Let's do them one at a time. Okay? The first is the Claude Desktop, right? So to add a plugin, we can do this traditional upload or drag and drop. I think I can drag and drop it. Let's choose the file. From my desktop, we're going to do the Claude Manager. And this installs like a regular plugin, or if you're in the MinuteLaunch system, I've got a custom installer that does all this automatically for you, which is easier. Next, let's just add in the File Manager plugin for now, so I don't have to do this part twice. And again, very lightweight, very simple. These are designed as single file WordPress plugins so that they're very simple to edit and manage and update. And I have my agentic tools do that for me. Now, let's start with the Claude Manager. You've been waiting for this if you're one of my audience members for a while. This is under settings at the moment. It will probably have its top level menu like the File Manager does, but that's why it's fun to be building with you in public. I need to put an open router key in. Now, to understand what this means, when you sign up for the MinuteLaunch AI system, I will give you an open router key. But if you need to get an API key, you could also go to Open Router and get one yourself. I'm going to just create one for this video, demo with Claude. And when you sign up as part of the MinuteLaunch AI system hosted, I give you the key built in so you don't have to bother with this. This manages most of the cool features for some of the functionality he needs the help of an AI on, because he needs to, for example, connect to other tools like Google Flash 2.5 image creation, which is really cool. I'll show you that in a second. Okay, let's make an internal API key that says this website says it's okay for Claude to talk to it. And if I ever want to revoke that, I can just remove the key. Allow Claude Desktop. You just give it a name that you'll remember if you care, because you can always revoke that in the future. Then here's the magic part. I simply click on generate this DXT extension, which is going to give him a brain transplant. But notice, here's a nice library of all the tools and what they do that you can browse around and check out. The documentation on this will also be available through MinuteLaunch.com. Okay. Now that I've downloaded that file, I can do the installation of Claude's brains in a couple of ways. He has a file system manager, so I could have him do the JSON himself, but this is much easier to do manually. Simply go here and manage the connector. And then I like to go into the extensions area. And here I can either click to find that file or I can drag it in place. And I'll show you by dragging it. If I go to my downloads, I just grab this desktop manager. And to make sure that I got the right one, let's generate a new one right now. And you'll see that it will download to your site. And this is number 57. I've been testing this a lot. So we go to Claude, into his extensions, and we just drag number 57. And it will trigger a, do you want to install this? Of course I do. It's from Spence. Now, I prefer to restart Claude's brain because he just had a memory transplant. So let's go File, Exit, Restart Claude. And when we do, we can ask him if he's had a brain transplant. Let's go to the same chat. Levántese, wake up. Hey, Claudio, it's Spence again. I've given you a brain transplant of some new tools. Do you see them? Specifically, the MinuteLaunch Claude Manager tool. Do you see that? It came out wrong with Cloud, but he'll know what I'm talking about. So he's listing out all the tools that he now has. Now, he might not be sure if he's got it. So let's go and check that it actually installed. And I'm going to disable and enable them. And I'm going to tell him, I've just turned them on and off again, just in case. They're MinuteLaunch Claude, C-L-A-U-D-E, manager. Do you see them now? Let's see if I help him remember. There it is. So these are the tools that he's got. He's got image manipulation, media management, post and page creation, user management, plugin. All of the things that you need to do on WordPress will be able to be done through this. And that's also how I'm going to make it easy as possible for you to do amazing stuff. Because now he's got access to my mail, my calendar, my desktop, my assets, my remote media. He can build and make all of the things through the plugins that otherwise used to have really complicated interfaces that took a lot of time to use, even design. But I'm going to show you basically in this video to get the channel started, or I should say to get the playlist started, just this. You got it, my friend. Let's test a couple things. First of all, can you list out any images that exist? Maybe the last 5 images on that WordPress website. Now, this is trivially easy. If the tool is working, it's just a piece of cake. He can list them out, but he cannot show them in line because there's a limit to Claude Desktop. Very clever. It's a brand new website. It was a trick question. He worked, right? So in this website, it's blank. I don't have anything. I didn't create anything. That's the cool part about it, right? So let me, for example, grab an image that's a remote URL image, and I'm going to give him something. Actually, let's show him a neat trick. Let's just grab an image from spencerforeman.com or something and see if he can remotely add it to my media library. Let's do my story. I've got a picture of me and my kids from 1,000,000 years ago. There we go. 2 of my kids. I'm going to copy the image address, and I'm going to tell Claude, for example, here's an image. Can you use the image upload URL feature to add this to the media library of my new site? Now, what's neat about this is that you can have him go out and do the research. You can have him work from your desktop. You can have anywhere where he's able to access the image and he can upload it. You can even give him the image here. And this is the kind of stuff that would normally take a lot of time, but now it's super easy. So if I go to my site, media library, and refresh, there's my image. That's trivially easy. Let's go another step. Let's do some fun AI created images through Claude. He's already got the capability of Nano Banana, which normally you'd have to sign up for, you'd have to figure out how to use, but he can create something and immediately add it to my library. Hey, let's have some fun. Let's create a new image using Nano Banana. Now, I have a prompt generator, but let's say I give you a prompt of make an image of a dad like my age with his 3 sons standing around and make it kind of cartoony like the old My 3 Sons TV show, 1950 style cartoon. And when you're done, upload it to my media library. Now, the prompting and everything else I'll talk about in another video. I've got tools that make it possible to have really dynamic, beautiful images come out of your prompts because you don't have to say all the stuff that I said. You just choose some factors and starting point, go. I've shown this in previous videos. Now, it's actually looking for a tool, which I forgot about. I need to actually check the credentials for the image generation. And I think in this case, I put it in there, but I have to make sure. So let's go to the plugin, go to API settings, and make sure that I've done that correct. I'm going to test the open router. It says it's okay. So in this particular case, we're going to ask him to try again. I just checked my open router API credentials and they looked okay. If you can't do it this try, then we'll go on to the next tool, but try again real quick. One of the things I wanted everybody to understand is these are early days, and sometimes I have multiple tools and they have various quirkiness. Like I have an AI media generator tool that's a separate tool. So he's probably having trouble because maybe that's my issue. Let's move on to the next tool. Let me show everybody how you can make a blog post. Can you research me, Spencer Foreman, from spencerforeman.com, and then using any images you find that are hosted on that website or the image that I gave you, make a blog post and put me and those images as the featured images as well. Now, in this case, make the blog post something that's really nicely laid out, HTML5 if you want. One of the things that I do with the other tools is make it possible for you to create really beautiful layouts instantly, but the editor is visually capable of being edited without having to use Gutenberg or anything else. That is to say, it's spencerforeman.com, by the way. Hold on, I'm going to tell him. He got the wrong URL because there was an E in my name. Those other visual editor tools, which I'll cover in another video, make it possible for you to see the content that was created by Claudio or your LLM, but edit it visually as if you were using one of the Gutenberg builders, but without all the overhead of Gutenberg. So he went out to my website, he's making the post, he's putting it up. Notice that there's tools that say allow or don't allow, because you don't want to necessarily have your tool do everything automatically. But in this case, it's a demo site at InstaWP. So I just say allow always. Now this is really not complicated stuff. So I'm not going to go through all of the tools, but suffice it to say the MinuteLaunch Claude Manager allows Claude to do everything that you could do inside of WordPress, including specialty stuff like working with the various plugins, WooCommerce, Fluent CRM, and creating the content around that. To make it even better, I've got another tool that I'm going to demonstrate and I'm going to set up, which is the File Manager. And this is a replacement for SFTP. In other words, I've created essentially a shell or an SFTP connectivity between Claude and WordPress so that Claude can do file management, manipulation, changing directories, doing all kinds of stuff that's always a pain. Let's go ahead and set that up. What we're going to do here is go to the File Manager, API Settings, and generate a new key. And then notice this one as a JSON. I'm going to make this into a DXT file, but for now it's a JSON because I want to demonstrate how this works. And so for this, we need to go and give Claude a brain transplant. He seems to be struggling with figuring out which term to use. So let's see if I can pause him for a second and we'll come back. No problem. Let's update your tools and try after. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to interrupt him and I'm going to go in here. And now with a JSON file, we do very similar. We go to Manage Connectors and we're going to go under Developer. And then notice here we've got the Claude tool that we installed. We're going to edit the config file. And when you do, you're going to be looking for a file called Claude Desktop config.json. It's a lot of words. You need to open it up either in Notepad or a text editor. When you do, it usually comes blank with something that looks like this. When I paste what I just got, notice it's all the same stuff, but notice how it's got the top two lines and the bottom two lines already there. So don't repeat the same thing. Instead, what you can do, if you don't have anything in place, is just delete the original stuff and click Save. And notice this is the credentials and click Save. This is the credentials so that Claude can attach to my site. All right. So next, we're going to do another restart of Claude because we gave him a brain transplant. And then we're going to test his abilities because, again, none of this is perfect. The stuff on the website is pretty reliable, but with Claude, you never know. So now we should see we've got the File Manager tools, as well as we've got the Claude WordPress Manager tools. Let's see if he understands. Bueno, Claudio, I'm back. I think you should have some new tools now for file management to connect to the same WordPress website. Can you see that? And sometimes I have to copy and paste this. I forgot to click my mouse in. Okay, so he needs the new tools. He sees all the old tools. Now he's got file system tools, right? So can you do a test of the file management tools and just let me know which ones are working for you? So he can do what we call a unit test and just kind of run through and see if he can connect with them. Let's find out. Now, I don't think I have to do anything special. I have a demo on InstaWP and I asked them. They said that their sites are allowing for REST API, so it should work fine. But if any of them break, it might be because of the REST API. We'll find out. So it's listing files, tool execution failed, directory, that worked, writing file, that worked. So everything is working so far except for one thing, which is awesome. Now, what's really amazing about this is he's got the capability of now creating, especially with the advice that I could give him, a plugin. That's pretty amazing, right? So let's pause him for a second. Okay, I see that those tools are working. I want to ask you a big favor. Can you create a single file WordPress plugin that flashes, hello everybody, my name is Claude, on the screen of WordPress, and install that into the plugins directory in its own folder? So call it Hello Claude and Hello Claude PHP. And let's see if you can install it so that I can demonstrate for folks that it works. Okay, now I'm going to be giving you guys pre-made templates and tools that will allow for the creation of these plugins, but it's sort of like a meta benefit. The very same system that gives you this power that I give to you will have tools that will allow you to make more tools, and the tools that make more tools will make better tools, and so on and so forth. Hopefully for us as human beings to do less of the drudge work and more of the fun. So he's creating a plugin. He's got the directory. And when I give him the special formula, the sauce that you need for him to know exactly which tools and how to make stuff, it's going to be that much easier. And I think this is how I'm going to enable normal people who like and subscribe, who join MinuteLaunch as well, to do things that otherwise were a lot of work, just the manual work alone. Okay, so he's making a plugin. Let's see how he does. In the meantime, one of the cool things while he's working on that is I'm going to go open in his brother, Claude, and I'm going to look at I'm going to show you a couple examples of things that I've done that are called artifacts. And some of the artifacts are the tools that I built using Claude that then become WordPress plugins. And this is another way that I can increase your capability as business owners or as people having fun, what you can do. So I was working, for example, on a WooCommerce social media widget. This is something that will allow myself or my clients to build marketing campaigns with the actual contents from a store. Now, it's not showing the images just because Claude does not show images, but it's functional. And I can give it the various types of people that I want to reach and what the social network is and what it's for and so forth and which products. And it will generate variations on campaigns along with A/B testing and the ability to embed these and put in images. Obviously, it doesn't show it now. And direct to checkout. And what's interesting to me is this is a model for something that I was able to create into a WordPress plugin that will be usable by myself or better, by Claude. So if you follow my meaning, the AI lets me build better tools that work with the tools that I've given to myself and the AI to sell more to better matches of people because it will know who the customers are, what they bought, how they want to buy, what way they want to buy, and so forth. Okay, he's done. So let's ask him, by the way, okay, he's just saying go to let's just see if we go there, if it's in there. Let's go to plugins. And I don't necessarily see that. So let's ask him if he's in the right WordPress website, first of all. I'm at this website. Now, maybe I have to clear the cache, but is the plugin there and ready to use? Oh, he installed it to my he installed it to my local drive. Let me see, by the way, what he did, because I wasn't specific enough, so my apologies, but I think he installed it to my local website. And he did. That's a lesson to be learned, actually. So it's kind of cool that it happened. I have to tell him not to use my local installation because he has access to that. He just assumed that's what I meant. I had to tell him the remote site, but let's see his plugin anyway. Notice he built the plugin, Hello Claude. Let's see what it does. And there it is. Now let's ask him what's up with that. Okay. First of all, it's awesome that you created the plugin, and I see it on my local site. So thank you for that. Does that mean that you also have access through other means to my remote website, the one that I gave you? Could you put the same file up there? I think he should. And I don't know what he's busy with, so I'm going to interrupt. Oops, I'm going to interrupt him, and hopefully... Let's see if he can do it. As this gets better, it will be less of a talkity-talk thing and more of a just do it kind of a thing. So let me just actually interrupt him and say, when you interrupt him, sometimes he disconnects. Well, check your settings as I've given you connectivity. Sometimes, by the way, you have to restart him. If he's pretending like he doesn't know what you're talking about, he needs to check his settings, or I have to restart him. Because remember what this is this is like a Waffle House, and the waiter or waitress is the LLM, and it comes in and it doesn't necessarily remember what you're talking about. And this is having trouble. So here's what I'm going to do. Let's actually do this as a learning experience. And we're going to go into, I'm going to turn off this tool and turn it back on. And I'm going to actually reboot him, but I want to just check the configuration file. So if we go over here to developer and we look at this, we can see the tools are connected. And we can see that it's got the right connection location, which is good. And we can see this configuration file, hopefully is saved. It is, and that's the right website too. So what I'm going to do is just reboot him. Because no matter how often I do this, I'm never surprised when a reboot works. Just like Windows. File, exit. And we'll just tell him in the same chat, try again. I just restarted you. Can you try again to reach that remote website? And he's still having trouble. Oh, okay. Try your file management tools. Nope, all those tools are failing. So one of the things that I'm going to say is I think we're going to either try something different, or we're going to try, just as an example, I'm going to give a quick test to see whether or not it's something to do with this InstaWP site. So I'm going to use a tool here. You guys do not need to use this, called PowerShell. This is a terminal. And I built in for testing this tool to let me see whether or not it will work. And I'm going to give it to him. So I'm going to give him the test results and see what he says. Ah, good point. He actually brought up something, and this is part of why it's been interesting for me to test. I need to check my credentials as a user and give him the right thing. I don't remember that this was ever an issue before, but since he's new, the site user is, I don't know what else he's going to go on about, but let's see if this kicks out something for him. He's gone off on a tangent. The site username is here is the API key. I'm going to give them the manual keys and see whether or not that helps them as well. Oh, actually, suddenly he's able to do it. So the reason I share this stuff, if you're watching and wondering, why doesn't Spence edit his videos, is that I've been told that some of the best things I do on video are when I have trouble. And I think that's important because I oftentimes have to spend a lot of time figuring out problems, and then I deliver it to you guys. And if I do that, I am better equipped to help you because I've lived through the problems. So this is actually working. I'm not sure what he is doing differently, but let me get a rundown on him after he tests this. He's having trouble with make directory. But he's calling the plugin file directly. Okay. He claims that he did it. Let's see if we have success. Success. Okay. So I want to just point something out and then I'll run through the rest of his tools. Number one is this is the first time I'm letting everybody know this is available. So, hey. Two is that, as I was mentioning, it's better for me to deliver to you guys the real videos. These are the kind of things that I think you're going to appreciate. I don't like editing a bunch of stuff and look, it's perfect. Spence is perfect. That's not the life that I live, and I'm too tired and old to edit stuff unless there's an obvious problem or a security breach. These are demo sites, so I don't even care if the keys are seen because I'm deleting this as soon as the video's over. What I wanted you to see, though, is that there's a certain degree of persistence involved in this, but it's joyful to me. I really love this. I feel like a kid in a candy store. I just made a software that's a whole platform, and I'm showing you one of the tools or two of the tools that make you able to do stuff that I think is a magic trick. And you guys can join me on this journey. Number one, by liking and subscribing so that WP Launchify grows. I'd like to say, let's get it to 250,000 people. I'm at 7,000 now. Maybe it's aspiring, I don't know. But I'll be able to give a lot of value out for that and hopefully interesting content. And you guys can let me know if this is kind of cool. Number two is that I feel like this is the way that I'm going to build a new WordPress. The new WordPress of the future is going to be not us doing things manually. This is one of about 25 tools that I've already built to demonstrate how this will all work. Okay, so let's first of all see if the plugin works here. I'm sure it will. Hello. Let's show how dynamic things can be. First of all, I'm going to just do this for a couple more minutes. Awesome. I'm not sure if the other tools are working or what the problem was. Maybe you can help me figure out what the problem was. But now that you're working, change that plugin. Instead of those weird colors, make it the same color scheme as I have at spencerforeman.com with the orange and the dark, and then say, hello everybody, my name is Claudio, and change it from flashing to scrolling across the screen. And change the same plugin so that we can demonstrate how cool it is to have you operating on the software instead of doing it ourselves. Okay, so I'm just gonna give him some instructions, which again, you in the future will have a template for me or otherwise won't have to worry about what to say, but it'll be able to be like Legos. You can just create different things from a compilation of appliances and ingredients. He's going out, researching my website, getting the colors, finding out what to put. Now he's going and modifying the plugin. My hands are not on the keyboard. I think this is my point. And the deliverable is inside of WordPress, which I own and control. You own and control. Not a company, not a SaaS platform that anybody, at least in this case, takes away. The only SaaS platform here is the hosting, and they're not going to take away your website because they're not in the business of auditing what you do with their hosting as long as it's not illegal or causing them any trouble. That's different than if you vibe coded stuff and it ends up on some random ice cream maker somewhere. This is something that you or I or Claude or another LLM could continue to modify and change. So he's writing the code as we speak. Okay, he's updated it. I don't have to do anything. Let's go to the site. Let's refresh. I mean, it's a ridiculous plugin, but do you understand how cool this is? Now, let's see if he knows those tools. Mi amigo, que bueno. You are doing so well. I'm very proud of you. I want you to do this. Create a web page at that site. Go get some images from my Spencer Foreman that you have the URL of, or I'll give you a URL, and then post that page with the featured images included that talk about what we just did together and why it's so revolutionary for anybody who has a business or clients or WordPress. Okay, let's see how he does. Now, he will be able to work on, like I mentioned earlier, custom post types, custom plugins, do my marketing emails and whatever. But this in and of itself is really revolutionary because what I think is going to happen is I have a number of tools like I was alluding to that will allow you or another team to use real life client data, real life product data, real life sales data, real life advertisement stuff and dynamically create and change stuff because the agentic tool will have full operational capabilities and also be able to see stuff while it's changing, right? Now I'm going to give him that URL. I'm going to cheat and go to my story and give him this URL again and see if it helps him. He still doesn't, oh, he's trying it himself. I know for almost certainty the reason he can't do the AI thing is because I have another component called the MinuteLaunch image editor. And I think I need that tool installed because that's where I put the Gemini Flash stuff. Nevertheless, this is the future of what I think I want to talk about on the channel. Now, many of you guys have questions and many of you guys have been asking me for showing different products and services. This is now a full ecosystem where I've got the social community that's built into the site. I've got the way for me to show you in video form. I've got the tools. I can build the software. I can help with all of the technical stuff because you're using my curated systems instead of rando down at the flea market. And ultimately, I can talk about how this helps humanity. I mean, there's a lot of this stuff that's very interesting about, for example, I'm going to be 59 this year. Looking at the next 25 years, I can be a really productive member of society doing things with AI that I have just as much knowledge, if not more so, than everybody else because it's brand new. And that really is a game changer in a world where a lot of things are kind of weird right now, right? If you're wondering what you're going to do next or how you're going to do next, the window hasn't passed you by because you have the same advantages as a 12-year-old or 22-year-old or 32-year-old or 42-year-old. And the businesses that we can build are now much more leveraged because instead you would have had to spend lots of money and lots of people power on building tools and systems and copywriting and advertisement. Now we can do this automatically. Okay. He's created a page. I don't know if this is exactly what I wanted, but it's enough to get me through this video. That is not the URL. Sorry, I misunderstood what he said. View the page. Let's give it a try. My kids are a lot older than that. Okay. Is it gorgeous? No. Does it have what I asked for? Yes. Could I have it make it better? Of course. I've got tools that do that. But on his own, he grabbed the remote image, he uploaded it, he created the content, he kept with the color scheme, he made it look like an AI because it's got the weird, I don't know why. They always default to these emojis and things. But who cares? We're on par for making amazing stuff happen. Okay. I'm going to end the video here and I'm going to ask you to join me again in two things. First of all is that if you want, you can track where I'm going with this. It's not all live yet. MinuteLaunch.com is the website domain. This is all going to be taken away except for the branding in favor of the new stuff. Number two is you're already here probably, but WP Launch AI, there's going to be the new channel, the new playlist here that will be featured. It's going to be really what most of my videos are. And I want you to go, after you join, like, and subscribe there, please, to go to WP Launch AI and consider joining up. The MinuteLaunch AI is right now, you get the AI inside of the regular MinuteLaunch, but what I'm offering is a special arrangement for right now. This is September, almost October. There'll be a new panel on the front page, but the MinuteLaunch AI annual is discounted. Instead of $300 for the whole year, it's $250 because you can become an early adopter of this club. This is the MinuteLaunch Club. It's fully hosted. It'll have the whole tool set. I'm going to be going through each of the tools as I launch them, and it's for a whole year hosted. It will change your life, and you can use it for your real website. But this is without this other special software. There's only a few normal plugins in here because most of the stuff we do now is through the AI. And this is a way that you can join me on this journey where all of the things in the YouTube videos you can actually get and use instead of just thinking and talking. So whether you do the full $97 startup, which has this in it, or just this, either way, it's a really exciting opportunity for you to join me on this journey. And the stuff I'm going to show you is really going to blow you away. But now that I've got the ability to have your Claude Desktop, really, really exciting. Now, I don't want you to think that you can only have access through that because one of the biggest features here, besides the interface and everything else, is the website tools themselves. So as I was mentioning a moment ago, the deep integrations with image creation, video editing, database management, newsletter creation, automation, you can of course do them in the site itself. And when you do, amazing things happen. Like for example, I had a client that we were showing them how you can iterate on a particular photo. This was their photo of the honey they sell. And what we're able to do is make any kind of content in their media library for their product and images, including with different product shots, locations, layouts. All of this is with a tool in the MinuteLaunch library that is the shot director. So instead of you needing to know the terms, you can have one product image that's maybe a piece of junk and create 12 different featured images and all the marketing campaign images instantly. You can do the same for videos. And you can iterate on people as well as things, right? So I'm making health reports and a dog bowling, and here's my friend, and we put different hairstyles on her. And here we made an album together like Neil Diamond. Lots of fun, lots of good times ahead. I hope you'll join me on the journey. Join the YouTube channel, join me on the newsletter and the mailing list, of course, and join me for MinuteLaunch, either AI or the full startup. I look forward to seeing you, hopefully daily. See you in the next video.